These days, there's lots of interest around action cameras, and for good reason. They are becoming very capable all-purpose cameras. They're no longer dedicated for sporting activities in the same way they initially were when an action camera was still a fairly new concept. This right here is footage from my current action camera, and if I didn't tell you this was from an action camera, it'll be very difficult to distinguish it from at least an entry-level, full-size mirrorless camera. So the fact that you can get this level of image quality from a small, easy-to-use, durable camera is why they're gaining so much popularity. So today I want to go over some of your best options in the action camera space, both the traditional action camera as well as non-traditional action cameras that bring some kind of a new innovative feature at the expense of something else. Because depending on what you're trying to do, one of these could be the better option, and that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. But let's start with the regular traditional action camera, because by far these are the most versatile cameras on the market. And for most people, a classic GoPro is what comes to mind, small, durable with a wide angle lens. However, even though GoPro kind of started this whole category, today in 2024, I simply do not recommend them. In my opinion, the only reason to choose a GoPro action camera in 2024 is one, if you can find a good used value, or two, you already have a lot of the accessories, you're invested in the ecosystem, then it still makes sense to go with a GoPro for that reason. But the brands I do recommend are DJI and Insta360. I simply think they make better products, superior technology, they're more innovative, and they have growing ecosystems that I think are a better investment than the ecosystem of GoPro. So when it comes to the traditional action cameras by DJI and Insta360, DJI has the Action 4, and Insta360 has the newly announced Ace Pro. Now, being that this is their take on a traditional action camera, there's lots of similarities between these two cameras. For example, the image sensor is the same 1/1.3 inches on both. Insta360 did just implement a new magnetic mounting system with this new camera that's very similar to what DJI is doing. And this allows you to quickly reposition the camera, which I think is absolutely crucial with these cameras. It really plays into the versatility and usability, being able to quickly move the camera around without too much hassle. And this is something that GoPro still doesn't have with their cameras. But between these two models, the Ace Pro and the Action 4, both the physical camera as well as the final image quality is very similar, but there are some key differences that might help you to choose between these two cameras. One is the price. The Action 4 is significantly cheaper at $299. The Ace Pro is $449. And for that extra price, the Ace Pro does shoot all the way up to 8K video resolution. The Action 4 is limited to 4K 120. Another benefit of the Ace Pro is the app. So Insta360 has a really fantastic app that allows you to easily process and edit the footage before you even take it off the camera. So if you're going to be shooting videos for a bunch of different social media platforms and you just need that extra flexibility, the Ace Pro is going to have that advantage. And then finally, the Ace Pro does have a flip-up rotating display, not too dissimilar from an actual Sony camera. The Action 4 has a fixed rear display with a secondary, smaller front-facing display. And I can see the flip-up display being slightly more versatile, and that's by far the biggest physical difference between these two cameras. But okay, those are just the traditional action cameras. There's many reasons why you might not want a traditional action camera, because they do fall short in really two main areas. One is with the footage style. You could say the quality of the footage, but I think the style or the feel of the footage is really what we're focusing on here. Because as we touched on, I think the overall quality of the footage from something like the Action 4 is very appealing. However, the biggest difference still between the action camera and a mirrorless camera is the field of view and the depth of field. So action cameras have an extremely wide field of view, and the depth of field is essentially infinite. Everything is in focus. And that's a huge selling point of action cameras and makes them very easy to use. All you have to do is point them in the general direction and it's going to capture what you want. But it does have the side effect of making the footage a lot less dynamic. So for example, a shot like this where I'm trying to film products, an action camera isn't that great. I can't really zoom in and show detail on the product, and there's also no separation between the product and the background. Everything is in focus, even though I really just want to focus on the product. So if you want something more dynamic, that's where the DJI Pocket 3 comes into play. And I do view this as a spin-off of the Action 4. I mean, physically side by side, you can see the similarities, the build quality, the materials, the size. There's clearly a lot of DNA between these two products. However, here we get a much larger 1-inch sensor with the shallow f2.0 aperture, both of which help you to not only have a better overall image quality, but they give the footage more professional dynamic look, enabling things like shallow depth of field. And just to prove that you can use this as a higher quality action camera, I've personally mounted this on my helmet while riding my bike, and this right here is the results. It was certainly more finicky to set up because we have a physical 3-axis gimbal, but especially in these challenging lighting conditions, it gave me a much better image. So yeah, I think the Pocket 3 is a great alternative or a different version of an action camera that can give you a bit more quality, dynamic footage at the expense of some of the durability and physical size of the camera. And the final option you have are 360-degree action cameras. These are more specialized than regular action cameras, and the trade-off here is you give up additional image quality, some warping, in exchange for an even wider lens. And the reason why you might want this is for capturing that third-person view of yourself doing an activity. You can do this with a regular action camera using a selfie stick, but here 360-degree cameras are significantly easier because you put it on the end of the selfie stick and that's it. It captures everything without having to adjust the angle of the camera, and it can automatically remove the selfie stick from the shot. So I would say if you're going to be doing activities like skiing, riding a bike, and you want to have that third-person view of yourself doing these activities, a 360-degree camera is going to be significantly better in this application than a traditional action camera pointing back at yourself on a selfie stick. And the best camera in this category is easily the Insta360 X3. So as a recap, a traditional action camera is probably the most versatile camera you can buy right now, and in this category, the Action 4 from DJI and the new Ace Pro from Insta360 are easily two of your best options. I think the Action 4 at a $299 price tag is more attractive, but if you want the latest and greatest 8K video recording, you can certainly opt for the Ace Pro. It's a fantastic camera. If you want higher quality footage with a bigger image sensor, a shallow depth of field, in exchange for some durability and size, the Pocket 3 is an excellent camera, and it's probably a better deal than entry-level mirrorless cameras. And then finally, if you don't care too much about image quality and you want to primarily get a third-person view of yourself doing activities, a 360-degree camera like the Insta360 X3 is a fantastic option. I'll leave a link to all these products below the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.